Today I'll be talking about the inevitable universal law. That's change. Change is the inevitable universal law. That's a mouthful, isn't it? I was preparing the lesson and Pat said, I wouldn't want to have to say that too many times. I said, I don't plan on it, honey. I don't plan on it. So I'm going to tell you a few things about my personal life, and then I'm going to talk about how unity made my life better. But oh, was there a lot of change. Oh, so much change, right? So how many of you came to unity to enhance your life? How many of you came to unity when you were in maybe some kind of crisis? Mm-hmm. Okay. That happens often because in unity the practice of practical spirituality is what works in our lives. Unity is not a religion. Unity is a way of living, a way of being. So when I was a little girl, I was so embraced by my family. I had 3 great-grandparents, great-grandmothers. All my great-grandfathers had passed, a transition. I had 3 great-grandmothers, and if you've had great-grandmothers and you know how nurturing and loving they can be, mine were the archetype. It's like, you sit on their lap, they hold you, they sing you to sleep, all of those lovely things. And then I had my grandparents as well. Well, I was the only child for about 5 years, for 5 years, yes. And so my parents were young and they were loving and the whole community came together. And so I experienced love and affection. That's what I experienced all the time. When I was 5 years old, we went to the family church. The family church where all your cousins were and all of those things. So we went to the family church. I grew up in Savannah, Georgia. It was a smaller Baptist church that had grown, but it's like my granddad had his pew and he'd kneel by the pew, those kinds of things. And all I knew was that I knew Brother Chandler, who was the preacher. That's what they called him. He was the preacher. And he was the essence of love. The words that came out of his mouth that were about condemnation or any of this stuff didn't mean that much to me. I just knew that he had something to do with God and that he was love. So I just knew that God was love and it was all good. So I was 5 years old and they had these things called altar calls. And I was a little child, and I got up on my own, and I went down the aisle to the altar call. It's like you give your life to God. Well, okay, God's love, so I'm good. I got it. So I went to the altar, and I didn't know it, but I made all these people cry. You're a 5-year-old kid. You're just thinking, I did something really good. and I remember what it felt like to experience what I know is the expression of love. You see, through unity, I have unity lenses now. I have unity filters in my ears. I can go just about anywhere and love it and embrace it because of what I've learned here. It's a beautiful way of living. And change. Oh, the change. When I had 2 brothers, one transitioned, I still have another brother, and they were just like my baby dolls. They let me dress them up, not in girl clothes, in boy clothes. And I learned a lot of things from those 2 little baby boys. And then I realized that there were secrets in my family. There were secrets. And so when I was really little, I didn't have any of the problems from the increasing disease of alcoholism from my father. You see? But when the boys came up, they experienced all of that. I did not like it. I felt very close to my father. I remember being 8 years old, sitting at the table with him when he had had a blackout the night before, and I just sat with him and had a very serious conversation. Dad, you can't do that anymore. Okay, honey, I won't. And then when he did it again, I felt betrayed. So betrayed. I felt robbed. I became so angry and bitter and negative. I went from being a very sweet, loving child to a child that didn't trust anything and needed to figure everything out. If you know anything about addiction, you know in the family that there's the omnipotent child, and you have to know what's going on. You have to figure it out. And so when I couldn't figure something out, I was very, very frustrated. And so that fed into the negativity, right? Fed into the negativity. I got so uncomfortable. When I was 12 years old, I remember having this rage experience. And I didn't do anything to anyone or anything like that. I just felt it within myself. And I remember thinking, that's like Dad. I don't want to be like Dad. And I completely flipped. I mean, I did a complete flip. It was like my mother thought something was wrong with me because every time I'd leave the house, I'd say, I love you, Mom. Be careful. And here's her 12-year-old telling her to be careful out in the world. It was a beautiful experience for me. And it was an experience in spiritual growth. It wasn't about shame. It was about making a change that would work for me in my life. As a result, when I was 15 and my father and I became the focus of his anger, I left home. I left home and went to live with my best friends. Now, don't be sad about me leaving home. I had a great, glorious life with my best friends. We had cars. We skipped school. I worked. We went to the beach a lot, you know. We had a lot of fun, and it was great. And when I was 18, I went to college. So there was that, right? And then there was junior college for a couple of years, and I'm not going to tell you my whole life story. Well, maybe. Let's see. I was born a younger... Anyway, going ahead several years, I went to different churches. And when I became a counselor, I went to the Unity Church. And this was a long, long time ago. But every counselor in the city went to the Unity Church. And I thought, I might as well be at work. Where's a clock? I can, punch in and out, because that was what it was like. In training as a counselor, I learned about Louise Hay. So I was the queen of affirmations. I loved affirmations. They were everywhere. They were a part of my healing. And when you become a counselor, there's a rule that you have to have a therapist. So I did. And I learned so much and did so much healing around my dad and just learned about, in addiction, and I'm just going to say this for a moment, in addiction, the family is as much of the problem as the primary addict. Do you see? It's like it is such a family thing. It's like we don't do our own work as a family. We just focus all on the addict, so we don't have to do our own stuff. We can just focus on that. And what does that do? It perpetuates shame. Does not work. So when we remove ourselves and do our own work, that's the highest and best for everyone. Usually, that is the highest and best. So when I got too uncomfortable, I realized that I would always make a change. I'd get too uncomfortable, and I'd make a change. And I learned to accept change. I learned that it wasn't a part of me that I had control of many times. I just didn't. And I would go through that process of, can I control this? Nope. Well, I'll just accept it. I truly cannot control it. I will let it go. It doesn't need any room in my emotions or my thoughts. It is what it is. I went to a Unity church in Nashville after a relationship ended. Anybody ever do that kind of thing? A relationship ends, you don't feel so great, so you go to a positive place to try to learn some good things. Yeah, I did the same thing. I was really heavily involved in the Episcopal Church and had been for several years in Nashville. And I went to Unity, and I went to Unity as a student. I went to the large Unity church that was the first one that was outside of the Missouri area. Big, big, beautiful church. So I go, and I sat there, and I listened, and I listened, and I wrote, and I listened, and it was so good for me. But I didn't want to connect with people. I wasn't in a real trusting place, so I didn't want to connect. I wanted to make positive change in my life, and I did. I most certainly did, because of what Unity was teaching me about my thoughts. And this is what I heard that meant so much to me, and it was written by Myrtle Fillmore. Prayer is an exercise to change our thought habits and our living habits, that we may set up a new and better activity in accord with the divine law, rather than with the suggestions we have received from various sources. Whew. Did y'all hear that? Did you hear that? Read it again. Sure will. Prayer is an exercise to change our thought habits and our living habits, that we may set up a new and better activity in accord with the divine law, rather than the suggestions we have received from various sources. So divine law rather than what's out in the world. What's out in the world? I remember going to my therapist's office early in recovery, and this is, please laugh, because I'm not that now. I said, as long as I can wear Abercrombie and Fitch and wear Cole Haan shoes, I think I'll be okay. I was living that life, It's like, I'll be all right. I'll keep coming to therapy, and that'll be okay. That was so external, so very external. It's just not the same life. Adapting to change is not an easy thing. Think about all of the master teachers that we know, and think about how brave they were to teach and to stand up and to be who they were, regardless of what someone thought of them. It's very powerful. One of the things that I also learned in Unity, and these are the biggies for me, was to celebrate the success of others, because it's a demonstration for you to know what can be yours as well. Yes, amen. Celebrate the success of others. Get excited. Yay! Look what you're doing. That's wonderful. And it's a demonstration. You get to say, wow, I know that good's here for me too. And look at this. And as we celebrate, what we do is we empower that person and ourselves. Our love expands. Our joy expands. I spent a lot of money on therapy and did a whole lot of retreats and things like that to get away from that bitterness. I did. People come up to me, well, I'm a recovering sugar addict too, and people come up to me and they say, "You are so sweet." And there's a part of me that goes, I am not, I don't eat refined sugar. But isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? But there's also a part of me that goes, oh, the healing is still there. Oh, the healing continues because I know my strength is in my tenderness. I know my strength is in my tenderness. Yes, absolutely. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love you. Honestly, truly, from my heart, I love you. And I trust to love you. There's nothing that anyone or anything can do to you in your heart of hearts unless you let it. There's no insult that offends unless it has a place to land. Yes? So now I'm going to tell you a funny story. I had to check this out with Megan before I shared it with you, but I led a small church in Gulf Breeze, Florida. Oh, what a beautiful area that is. And I was asked to do a celebration of life. And I love doing celebrations of life. They're beautiful. People come together and they truly celebrate the life of someone. So there was a brother and sister, and they asked that I do a celebration of life for their father, and they wanted to go, as many did, down to the beach and release his ashes. And I said, sure, I will be happy to do that. And everybody was all calm and even, and all was well. And we went to, it was a long walk from where you had to park where we were meeting to have the celebration of life. And we were all in a circle, and there were various people there, and it was a lovely circle of people. And when it came time to release the ashes, you usually go to the edge of the water just enough so that the ashes go back. And there's certain beaches that allow this and certain beaches that do not. Well, when I did these ceremonies, I always wore a white linen tunic, white linen pants, because it was hot, right? It was really hot. So we were going to release the ashes into the water. So it was me, the daughter, and the son. And so we walked up, and the daughter had been just so very calm. And then she got really upset, and she went deeper and deeper into the water with the ashes. And so we went in to retrieve her. And I turned around, I was in the water, and I thought, I have on white linen. I cannot stand up. This would not be a good thing. So I'm standing there, and on the beach, oftentimes you have to kind of yell, raise your voice. Not yell in the spirit of yell, but your voice has to raise. And so I said, so the brother had his sister, and so I said loudly, now is a time to join hands in the circle and to close your eyes. And to connect on the experience of love no matter at what time or what situation. Just be in the love right now and keep your eyes closed as I leave you. And I love you, I bless you, and I see you comforted by this time. And so, I started shagging up the beach, and I'm like, whoa. And the more I ran, the more the sand stuck to the lower part of my pants, and my pants are falling down, and I'm going like this, and I'm running, and I go, and I finally get to my car, and I get to my car, and the pants were soaked, and I had another pair of pants, so I quickly, floop, get myself together. So I'm sitting in the car, got the air conditioning on, and I'm like, whew. just doing a little meditation, and I hear, I'm like, oh man, am I gonna get arrested? And it was this beautiful, dapper, white-haired man that pushed the button and it rolled down my window, and I said, yes? And he said, I just wanted to tell you how much it meant to me that you honored my friend in this way. And so that day was like, whoop, 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 whoop. Adapting to change is not only a skill, it's a life-enhancing skill. It is so good to be able to just go with the flow when you need to. There are things, I often think about our Reverend Darlene because I've led a church. And I know what it's like when you have to make a decision and it's based on things that you can't share with anybody or something that's held in confidence. And oh, it's so hard. And we all trust her and we love her and we trust her with our flow in our community, don't we? Yeah, absolutely. We are so blessed. And I am so blessed to be here with you. Now, I want to do a guided imagery. And so it's going to take a bit of focus. Are you all up for that? Nod your head if you think you might be. Some of you aren't nodding. You just enjoy. No, I'm serious. It's a pretty intense. And so Sarah's going to come up and be with me. And I invite you to make yourself comfortable. If keeping your legs crossed or putting them on the floor, whatever works for you, just make yourself comfortable. And as Sarah plays some beautiful little music on this piano, I'm going to sing this song first just to kind of get us there. Sarah's going to harmonize for a moment. Then we're going to stop and go into the meditation, just so you know what we're mapping out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So we take a moment and we breathe in and we breathe out and we just send gratitude to our bodies. Thank you, amazing vessels. And we pay attention to our listening. Are we willing to listen? Are we willing to take this journey? If you are, then that's beautiful and wonderful. If you're not, just enjoy this time and this rest. I'm going to ask now that you use your faculty of imagination. And you imagine that you are here in this lovely chapel by yourself. You're safe, you're comforted, And it's not dark, it's just at dusk. There are a few lights on inside the chapel. And you hear a few people chanting. And you're like, ooh, I'm going to look out and see who that is. But the windows are heavily tinted and you can see out, but they cannot see in. So you stand at the window and they're very sweetly saying, we are here for you. We are here for you. And so you gently open the door, and one person sees you, and you look into that circle of people, and there's a fire in the center, and you see that circle of people, and you recognize every person there. They are here for you. They are there for you to support you through change, to let you know that you are loved, to let you know that you are appreciated and that you are a beneficial presence in this world. So you walk into the circle and you greet each person. They don't say a word. They just smile and look into your eyes. They are here for you. And standing there, you know that all of that love and all of that support is yours. You take it in, and you are complete. You are complete. You know, and you believe and you trust this loving support. And any time that you want to call that support back, all you have to remember is this experience right now. Because they are here for you. And you come back in and you sit in your seat here in the chapel, and everyone has gone from the circle. And you sit down and you feel lifted up, and you feel that alleluia within yourself, that celebration of, oh, I am beloved. I am beloved. I am beloved. And so as we bring this sacred time to a close, if you're willing to say with me 3 times, I am beloved, and gently open your eyes. I am beloved. I am beloved. I am beloved. And now let's sing Alleluia together. Alleluia. 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 going to invite you, if you're willing, to stand, if you're comfortable joining hands, and let's just sing this. Alleluia is a celebration of ourselves, of our divinity. Heavy harmonies. Alleluia.